Here is an outline of what this video series will be like, and it follows the outline for the book. The book has 4 parts. The first presents the theory, then the theory is applied to various topics related to the mind, then we move on to topics related to the world outside of the mind, and in the end, the future. So in a bit more detail, the chapters are as follows. First, there's an introduction. Those 4 videos, 1A, B, C, D, they cover that chapter. Then in chapter 2, there's method, which means before we present the theory, we need to discuss what criteria do we have for believing that a theory is any good. How should we understand the theory? So I'll talk a bit about understanding, the relation between language and the world, and then truth and truth criteria. So sort of things that needs to be established before we can start presenting the theory. Then I present the theory of the book in chapter 3, and those 3 chapters are part 1 of the book, presenting the theory. Then comes chapter 4 to 8, which is the second part of the book, related to the human mind. It starts with causality, because I will argue that the human mind is a causal process. Then it presents various parts of the mind, and there's a chapter on its own on thinking, because we're especially interested in how can there be rational thinking if the mind is a causal process that has evolved through evolution. Chapter 7 has some big and interesting and difficult questions on consciousness, and then chapter 8 on free will. How can humans have free will, since free will seems incompatible with both determinism and indeterminism? So that's a mystery that we'll solve in chapter 8. Moving on, and to the third part, covers chapter 9 to 13 on the world. The topics there are time, mathematics, probability, basic concepts in physics, and quantum physics in the last chapter there. And then the last part is on the future, and ethics chapter is there, since I'll be arguing that ethics is about a possible good world in the future. And then there are some topics more directly connected to then the meaning of life, AI, and politics, on how to make a good world. The final chapter is the deepest question in philosophy at all, namely the question of why is there something at all, as opposed to there being just nothing. One figure to summarize it all, not very easy to understand now, but it's possible to look at it later. But now I'll just introduce this one main idea, that if you have this fundamental field that's encompassing everything here, with an actualizing power in the bottom that can actualize different values in different points in this field, then everything else that we have a word for is a pattern of these in these values in this field. So everything physical, everything in the mind, everything related to then truth and causality, mathematics, probability, etc. All of these can be reduced then to patterns in these values, actualized at different points in the field. So probably that didn't make much sense now, but we'll look into all the details. That's just the very overall picture of how it's possible to reduce everything to some basic components. So there you have it, the whole book squashed into one picture, or the whole video series into one picture. Looks like that. That's the content of this video.